Have you ever considered how climate change could alter the world as we know it? In the grand scheme of things, our planet is a mere speck of dust in the cosmos, a precious oasis of life in an otherwise barren universe. Yet, we've been throwing it into disarray, disrupting the delicate balance that sustains us all. We're talking about climate change, a topic that has been gaining traction and urgency in global discussions. Now, what exactly is climate change? It's a long-term alteration in the Earth's average weather patterns. Sounds simple, right? But in reality, it's a complex issue that threatens to upend life as we know it. Rising temperatures, melting ice caps, and extreme weather events are just the tip of the melting iceberg. The consequences are far-reaching, impacting everything from the smallest organisms to the largest ecosystems. And it's not just about the environment. Climate change has a domino effect, disrupting economies, societies, and even our health. Imagine a world where the breadbasket regions can no longer produce food due to extreme droughts, or where major coastal cities are submerged due to rising sea levels. It's a grim picture, isn't it? The truth is, we're not just talking about the future anymore. The effects of climate change are already being felt around the world. It's a ticking time bomb and the clock is running out. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's still hope. Addressing climate change requires a collective effort, a global understanding, and a willingness to act, to make the necessary changes before it's too late. And that includes understanding it from different perspectives. Understanding that our actions have consequences, both for us and for future generations. But there's one perspective that hasn't been explored as much as it should be. It's a perspective that's over 1,000 years old, yet it's as relevant today as it was then. A perspective that could shed new light on how we approach this global crisis. And today, we dive into an aspect seldom explored, the Islamic perspective on climate change. Islam has always emphasized the importance of harmony with nature. This sentiment is woven into the very fabric of Islamic teachings, which underscore the profound interconnectedness of all life and the crucial role humans play as stewards of the earth. In Islam, the concept of stewardship, or khalifa, is a foundational principle. This principle paints humans not as rulers over nature, but as caretakers, entrusted with the responsibility to maintain the balance and harmony of our environment. This responsibility is not to be taken lightly, as it is a sacred trust from the Creator. Islamic teachings are brimming with references to nature and the environment. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, is filled with verses that speak about the wonders of the natural world, from the mountains to the seas, the sun, moon, and stars. These verses are not just poetic praises of nature's beauty, but also reminders of our duty to protect and preserve it. In fact, the Quran states, "It is He who has appointed you stewards in the earth," emphasizing the role humans play in environmental conservation. Respect for all creatures is another cornerstone of Islamic environmental ethics. Islam teaches that all forms of life, whether they are plants, animals, or humans, are part of one interconnected web. Hurting one part of this web, therefore, hurts the whole. As such, Islam promotes a holistic approach to environmental conservation, one that takes into account the welfare of all creatures. Islamic teachings also stress the importance of moderation and avoiding excess. This principle, known as wasat, discourages wastefulness and encourages sustainable living. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, "The world is beautiful and verdant, and verily God, be He exalted, has made you His stewards in it, and He sees how you acquit yourselves." Hence, in Islam, protecting the environment is not just a duty, but a form of worship. This perspective invites us to rethink our relationship with the environment, to see it not just as a resource, but as a sacred trust, a divine gift that we are duty-bound to care for and preserve for future generations. So, how does Islam view the current climate crisis? In Islamic teachings, humans are considered khalifas, or stewards of the earth. We're given the responsibility to protect and maintain this planet, a duty we've seemingly neglected, resulting in the current climate crisis. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, warns against mischief on the land, a phrase that can be interpreted to encompass environmental harm. It's clear that Islam places a significant emphasis on the preservation of Earth's natural balance. Delving deeper into Islamic teachings, we uncover a profound respect for the environment, emphasizing the importance of maintaining equilibrium in all aspects of life. This principle of balance, or mizan, is a recurring theme in the Quran. It's not just about the balance between humans and the environment, but also the balance within the environment itself. Our actions, as small as they may seem, can tip this balance. Consider, for instance, our consumption habits. Islam teaches us to avoid israf or wastefulness, urging us to consume only what we need. Yet, our modern lifestyles are often defined by excess, leading to resource depletion and contributing to environmental degradation. Moreover, the Quran speaks of the consequences of disrupting the natural order, warning us of the repercussions of our actions. It's a call to reflection, a reminder that our actions today will impact generations to come. We're not just stewards for our time, but for the future as well. So climate change isn't just a scientific issue, it's a moral one too. It's about justice for the earth, for the future generations, and for the marginalized communities who bear the brunt of climate impacts despite contributing the least to the problem. And this is where Islamic teachings become crucial. They provide a moral compass, guiding us towards a balanced, sustainable, and just world. Therefore, from an Islamic viewpoint, addressing climate change is a moral and religious obligation. What solutions does Islam provide to tackle this crisis? One may wonder. The Islamic faith offers a rich tapestry of teachings that can be applied to combat climate change. Let's delve into a few of these principles. Firstly, there's the principle of moderation in consumption. Islam encourages its followers to avoid excess and wastefulness. In the Quran, it is said, "Eat and drink, but waste not by excess, for Allah loves not the wasters." This principle can be applied to our modern lives where overconsumption of resources is a significant contributor to climate change. Next up, we have sustainable living. Islam teaches us to live in harmony with nature. It encourages the preservation and protection of the environment. The Hadith states, "The world is beautiful and verdant, and verily Allah, be He exalted, has made you His stewards in it, and He sees how you acquit yourselves." This teaching urges us to be responsible stewards of the earth, promoting sustainability and conservation. The principle of no harm, or la darar wa la dirar, as it is known in Arabic, is another Islamic teaching that can be employed in the fight against climate change. This principle advocates that no harm should be inflicted on oneself or others. When we consider the harmful impacts of climate change, this principle calls on us to take action to prevent further harm to our planet and its inhabitants. Lastly, Islamic teachings promote renewable energy, conservation, and other green practices. Islam encourages the use of resources that do not harm the environment. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Do not cut down a tree, do not harm a bird." This teaching not only promotes conservation, but also emphasizes the importance of renewable energy sources that do not harm our environment. In conclusion, Islam provides a blueprint for a sustainable and balanced approach to dealing with climate change. It encourages moderation, sustainability, harm prevention, and the use of renewable energy. These principles, if implemented, can significantly contribute to combating the climate crisis. Thus, Islam promotes a sustainable and balanced approach to dealing with climate change. So, where does this leave us in the fight against climate change? Well, we've journeyed through the reality of the climate change conundrum, explored the Islamic perspective on the environment, illuminated climate change in the light of Islamic teachings, and even discovered Islamic solutions for climate change. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Climate change is not just a global issue, it's a human issue, and as humans, we each have a role to play. The Islamic perspective, which promotes respect for nature, conservation, and sustainability, offers a blueprint for action. It's a reminder that, as Muslims and as members of the global community, we are called to be stewards of the earth. From the simple act of planting a tree to the complex task of implementing sustainable practices in our businesses, communities, and countries, each action matters. Each step, no matter how small, contributes to the grand tapestry of change. However, this isn't a one-person task or a one-community responsibility. This is a collective effort. It requires unity and cooperation on a global scale. It demands that we all join hands and work together to combat this pressing issue. Yes, the challenge is daunting, but remember, as the teachings of Islam remind us, we are not alone in this struggle. We are parts of a greater whole, interconnected and interdependent. And it is this strength of unity, this power of collective action, that can and will make a difference. Now it's time to put these teachings into practice. Let's take what we've learned here today and use it to spark change in our lives, in our communities, and ultimately, our world. Remember, as stewards of this earth, each one of us has a role to play. So, let us join hands and work towards a sustainable future, as instructed by our faith and demanded by our planet.